What have you guys been doing since Georgia? You got time off, coming off, you revamped your lineup a little bit. What do you do to get ready for the NCAAs?
Yeah, we took a few days off after the SEC tournament. We actually took a little longer time than we maybe normally would. I felt like we were a little bit kind of emotionally and physically drained there after that. But yeah, we've had some great practices here the last several days. And yeah, after several days off, we've really hit it full force. We've been in some two-a-days, a lot of private hits in the morning, and really getting after in the team practice. I feel like our intensity is always high in the practices, but I feel like the last 4 or 5 days we've pushed them really, really hard, and the girls have responded really, really well to that.
I know there's a little bit of controversy at the SEC tournament with the protests and the changing of the lineups. How does that work, and how does that impact how you're able to line up your team come the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, that was quite an interesting series of events there with the SEC lineup. Yeah, I had turned in Carson at 3 there. It was a tough one to kind of really know what to do because she's been playing outside competition and playing at a very high level. She had played a college match in over a year, and but the universal tennis rating, hers was the highest in college tennis. So they unanimously voted her 13-0 to move her to 1. I stuck with the same lineup here for the NCAAs that we played in the SEC tournament. Felt like that was the best way to kind of handle the situation, just with the approach of how everybody looks at all that. I don't know if there's really a right or wrong answer to the lineup. It's just such a peculiar situation with Carson rejoining the team right there at the end of the season. So yeah, at the end of the day, it could get protested again. By the end of the day, I believe they have till 5 p.m. today to protest the lineup. And then, hopefully if we advance through this opening weekend, then I have the choice to change it again as we would approach the Sweet 16 if we were fortunate enough to get to that point.
So is she doing okay?
Yeah, she's doing great. She had a little slip up there in the SEC final, just kind of took a wrong step there, had an MRI, x-rays, everything looks great. So she's back practicing now, and she's looking good, and yeah, we fully expect her to be at full health here going in the NCAAs.
How relieving was that, just knowing everything she's been through, to know that it maybe looked worse than it was?
Yeah, that was such a crazy finals there against Georgia. There was just kind of a lot of kind of mental and emotional toll I think that took on everybody. It was very loud, raucous crowd indoors. I think kind of got the best of all of us on the mental side. I think that kind of carried over perhaps a little bit on the physical side. But yeah, Carson kind of misstepped there. The good news is, yeah, she's looking great. She hit in yesterday, moving as well as she could possibly move, hitting the ball as well as she could possibly hit. So yeah, we feel like that's all in the past there, and yeah, we should be full force ready to go this weekend.
How encouraged were you by, it seemed like even before the SEC tournament, before she came back, y'all had started to maybe play your best tennis and kind of been trending in the right direction. How encouraged have you been just with the trajectory of the season?
Yeah, the trajectory of the season's headed, in the right direction there. We unfortunately had a rough go there in the finals at Georgia. But yeah, we really were on a roll before that. We had a really tough schedule early in the season. We perhaps maybe, I wouldn't say overscheduled, but it was a very aggressive scheduling. All of our losses have taken place on the road. I would say almost every match we lost, at least in the early season, literally came down to point here, point there. We truly feel like we're as good as anyone in the country now with Carson in the lineup. I'll take our lineup against anyone. I feel like if we're performing at the level that we're capable of, we're going to be in great shape out there.
How beneficial is it to just start at home? I know it's the first couple of rounds, but starting the NCAAs at home.
Yeah, we're very, very excited to be back home. We've really been on the road a lot this spring. I feel like we've traveled more this spring perhaps than we ever have in my coaching career. So yeah, it's always nice to sleep in your own beds and play on the courts that we're familiar with. We've got a great fan base that's just growing and growing every year, and we're a pretty tough team to mess with here in Aggieland. So yeah, we're looking for a great crowd out here. It's awesome. The men and the women are both hosting, and there'll be 8 teams in town, and it's a great weekend to come out and watch some great tennis.
It's a team sport, but yet the individual, you add Carson. How do you feel that changes the dynamic of the team? Mark, does that make you maybe a little better than doubles and singles, or does it really strengthen both equally?
I think it strengthens us both equally. We've had some individual performers this year that are just kind of off the charts individually with their stats. You throw in an All-American in singles and doubles, it helps us in both, and we've kind of tinkered with the lineup again. This weekend, we'll put Nicole Kieran with Jeanette Morellis, and then Carson Brandstein with Luciana Perez there. So we feel like that'll give us the best chance at all 3 positions, and hopefully we can get at least 2 of those. If we can get the doubles point against anyone, I feel really good about our chances.
So where do you feel this team is right now?
Sorry?
So where do you feel this team is right now going into the NCAA tournament?
Our team is in a great position. We're full of confidence. We love the challenge that's up ahead of us. I feel like we hadn't got that challenge much in the past few years in the early rounds, so we're really excited for it.
How much does the last couple of years, y'all pretty much run the table through regular season and then had disappointment in the postseason? Does that help though, knowing, even though y'all maybe haven't, especially early on in the regular season, struggled a little bit, that postseason anything can happen, and if y'all are playing hot at the right time, just like teams that came up against you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just seeing anything can happen at any point. I mean, we saw the adversity in the beginning of the regular season, and in the past years, like you mentioned, maybe we didn't experience that adversity quite as much. So I actually think it's kind of nice that we got those hits in the beginning, so that way we're ready to go now in the postseason.
How's Carson change everything, do you feel, coming back? Because it's an individual sport, but yet it's a team sport. How's her coming back change things, do you feel?
Yeah, definitely provides our team more depth. She's an experienced tennis player in all aspects, so it'll be fun to see how we can test other teams with just another level to our lineup.
What was it like to see the controversy and the appeal, the protest about the way the lineup was at the SEC tournament? How do you think the team as a whole handled that?
I think we handled it just as best we could. I mean, it's just another tennis match. We don't really pay too much attention to all the outside stuff. What really only matters is what happens once we get on the court, wherever we are, like tunnel vision on our own court. So all that other stuff, we kind of just let it pass us by one ear out the other.
When you look at the matches you lost and moving forward, trying to get better, where do you think this team maybe needs to fine-tune things to maybe win a 4-3 match as opposed to losing a 3-4?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the talent there all semester from the beginning. Even back in the fall, we have the same players we did. I think just playing those tough matches in the beginning of the season and not coming through on top, just getting that loss, seeing what that's like, is going to definitely propel us forward if we're going to be in that position again. So I just think having the experience of the losses before is going to be very detrimental to getting those as wins in the future.
What about your situation? It's tough when you're so highly ranked to go ahead and fulfill that, but you had the great year last year. You followed that up. How have you been able to do that?
I keep it very simple. I try not to think about all that stuff, especially when I'm just out here practicing and playing matches. When I'm on the court with the tennis racket, hitting the tennis ball, nothing really matters except for what I need to do to get that ball over the net. So all that is great, and I'm super proud of myself, super grateful I've been able to follow it up, but keep it very simple in the moment and just try and focus on what matters on the tennis court.
Kind of along those lines, how's this year compared to last year? Kind of last year for the first time going up against that type of competition week in, week out. Now maybe it's a little more used to it.
Right. Yeah, it was nice to have that year last year under my belt. I mean, I kind of know what the opponents are going to be like, but I made sure to stay very lenient with myself and just keep trying to do the best I can, because it's not easy to follow up one year after the other. And I think having that understanding with myself that everything I'm doing it for the first time, basically following it up again, I think helps me just handle adversity, handle losses, or just keep going.
Coach said that you guys have been on the road a lot, so just how nice is it to open NCAAs at home?
It's really nice. We get a few weeks here at home. I feel like we hadn't ever traveled this much in my past 3 years as we did this year, so it'll be nice to get that kind of refresher. And we always play super well at home in front of the 12th man with all the support, so that'll be really nice before we hopefully pack up and head to the later rounds wherever they are.
And what's your mindset like? Do you like the kind of this part after the regular season, after conference play?
Oh yeah, it's fun because it's kind of like the third section of the season, and we're just about to get into it, and it's super exciting because I feel like it's different every year, and you kind of get used to the regular SEC season and stuff, but in postseason, like, we're always playing different people, different places, so it's fun because you just don't know what's coming really.
What do you think it is about you guys here? I guess since you've been here, haven't even once.
Yeah, we train here so many hours every single day. It's super comfortable. We sleep in our own beds, and obviously the support here is unreal. You really feel like these people care about you and they're super behind you. So definitely having support of the 12th man is like super detrimental to our success there. But it's just familiarity, and you're comfortable. So then we do so well, thankfully.